Welcome to the 2024 Economic Preparation and Depression channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this Tuesday, August 6, 2024 edition. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest interpretation of financial news, 100% pure unadulterated truth as it becomes available to the mainstream. I thank you for your support, and I read all of your comments and enjoy it as well. Today we're going to be looking at the service sector and why a recession is going to be coming, as well as many stores that are closing down in many of our suburbs, neighborhoods, towns, cities, municipalities, etc. And so right now you can see that the Magnificent Seven losses approach $3 million amidst week-long sell-off. So the markets have been selling off here. They've been consolidating in preparation for what they believe to be a recession coming later on this year or possibly next year, beginning of next year, as we get past all of the political news. So you can see they've been selling off. Now today the markets were up, as far as I know. A couple hours ago they were up, and so that happens to be the storyline, is that it's going to be bouncing up and down like a roller coaster until after the elections or after the September rate cut meeting that's supposedly taking place next month with the rate cuts. So Nvidia stocks up more than 6%. It's been on downward swipe. Microsoft, Alphabet, and Amazon suffered steep losses, but they will be okay. The Magnificent Seven is going to be okay. The stocks market there is going to be okay. 6 reasons a recession is unlikely. Now, this is by MarketWatch.com. They say that the economy is still growing at an above average speed, according to them. They say that we have, things, poor jobs report and the stock market sell-off raise recession worries, but all the worries justified. In other words, the 99%, the 1% is still making a lot of money. They're still creating jobs. They also argue that even though the job pace has slowed down, we are still creating over 100,000 jobs every month. That's the argument for why a recession is unlikely. And the Fed is getting ready to cut rates, they say. But the problem with that is that the prices of homes, food, cars, utilities, transportation to move goods and services across this country and elsewhere has increased dramatically on a lot of American families everywhere across this country. And so the recessionary fears is warranted, and it is coming. It's just that it takes a long time. Remember, we have a $15 trillion economy here, so it takes a while for these effects to come through this big of an economy. So the U.S. service sector rebounds in July. Employment also recovers. Okay, so now they're saying that, hey, people are going out to eat a little bit more here at steakhouses in Brooklyn, a couple places here. There's a family here eating. That is true, but also I've heard that people have cut back a lot on eating out, maybe once or twice a week instead of every other day at work or wherever the case may be. And so the service sector is still hurting. And remember, we had that boost last month, of course, because kids were on summer vacations. A lot of parents took their kids out, different places for summer vacations. But now that's beginning to fade as back to school looms on the horizon in the next 2 to 3 weeks here. And so the service sector and the travel sector is going to be hurting, particularly with those outages. As Delta had the outage with CrowdStrike, and some other Southwest had an outage a couple months ago. So different things like that is going to also hurt the numbers too. So they claim, and Reuters.com claims that the service sector is rebounding and that everything is happening, but there's still unemployment in those areas. And the unemployment rate increased to 4.3% from 4.1% in June. We're in August now. You can expect that number to increase to 4.5% this month. And that's likely to stem and curb demand for restaurant and hospitality services here. And that thing, too, was the private sector jobs also shrunk. They cut about 50,000 private sector jobs across the country, as well as companies get ready to shed. Now, some of that, I admit, some of that is natural as they head toward the budget. The new budget year coming up here, the new fiscal budget year coming up here. Sometimes it's natural to trim the fat, and so I want to say that, I want to be honest with you and tell you that some of that is normal. But the thing that is going to hurt this economy is that more companies announce they're closing stores in 2024. Now, let me admit, we've all known that the malls have been dying for the last 35 years. Okay, we know that. We know that the outlet malls and the regular malls have been dying. And to Amazon's credit, they pivot, they move, they have excellent product, excellent customer service, and they also have excellent delivery speeds. I mean, you can get anything you want in 2 days or less with Prime, and same day delivery. All of that's excellent, even with drone deliveries. But the thing is that in terms of jobs, you still need human manpower jobs. Maybe not so much in retail, but in manufacturing for sure. And that's the problem. We're not manufacturing anything but debt and fast food and car washes and gas stations. That's all you see buildings being built in these townships, municipalities, communities, and suburbs. So that's going to be the big problem. Rising costs are hitting commercial stores, and commercial real estate, all this vacant commercial real estate should be converted technically to low-income housing or homeless housing or community centers for the kids who choose not to go to college or trade school or or whatever. It should be converted to something to help them out, but instead it's just staying empty. So we have all these empty commercial stores with backed by commercial mortgage-backed securities. And that's the question that a lot of Americans have. What's going to happen to all those empty warehouses? Empty stores. Yeah, every warehouse can't be turned into an Amazon warehouse or or a church or something like that. It has to be converted into something useful to help this manufacturing. So the stores that are closing this 20 years in the next 2024, the latter part, we have Applebee's. You have Best Buy is closing 24 stores this year. The Body Shop. Now, another thing I want to mention too about these store closures, a lot of these stores overbuilt. Like Walgreens, they overbuilt. They have, every time you go into a city, there's one on every other corner just about. Same thing with CVS. They overbuilt some of these stores. Dollar Tree. Same thing here. And actually, I was surprised at Dollar Tree because they're actually cheaper to me than Dollar General. I don't know if you guys experienced that, but to me, where I'm at, the Dollar General is actually more expensive than Dollar Tree. So you would think with the price cuts, they would actually be surviving. But they're closing 600 stores. Macy's, that's no surprise there. Their stock has been in the tank for the last 10 years. I was surprised Amazon hadn't snapped them up. Maybe they will. Outback Steakhouse, another one. Web Lobster, we knew about those. You guys knew about, and there's Walgreens, the one I mentioned. So these store closures are going to continue to impact Americans all over, not just people who work these jobs, summer jobs, as these kids that work these summer jobs or have a second job. It's going to impact all of us because service and hospitality and spending at the retail stores, it makes up 2/3 or 75% of the U.S. economy. And so when these stores like this close, that means not much goods and services are being shipped only to the big stores like Walmart, Amazon, and Target per se, and maybe a few of your other stores. And that's going to create a big dent in this economy. The more layoffs you have in the private sector and the public sector, the more chances you have for crime to go up. You have more chances for a recession that could last more than 2 years. You can have more chances for that. And so look for a gutting of the job market in these cities. The only cities that will technically not have too much to be buffered by are the largest cities in America. And they will be bolstered, by the probably by some form of state or federal government assistance until austerity measures, until things really get bad. And then people are going to say, "Wow, well, how do we get here? How do we get into this type of recession? I thought things were good, so-called quote unquote good, but things are not good, and they're just slowly eroding away at our job freedoms and at our individual and personal freedoms." And so as a result, the service sector is going to be hurting, as you know. And I don't think it's going to come back the same way. It's never going to come back because automation, AI, and the new economy where they don't need us. They don't need, to pay pensions anymore. They don't need to pay health care and all those benefits and wait for grievances because they have new automated robots and AI is supposed to take our place. And, all that's going to be a factor. And then the new CBDC, or central bank digital currency, or as many people say, either you replace the currency, the dollar is going to be replaced, or it's going to be bolstered. In a sense that it's going to be totally digital and controlled by, the 1%, the upper 1%, via the central bank. And so that's what we have to look forward to, and that's what we're all preparing for. We know it's going to take some shape, but we just don't know how that's going to interact with our daily lives, some form of augmented reality or something like that, or possibly you scan in. They tried doing chips on people, or chips. Amazon dropped that from their stores, their grocery stores, where you walk away with an item that's chipped and you're chipped, and you go to the store. They closed that in a lot of stores. They had tried that pilot program. So we just have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen. So in the meantime, continue to prepare as if a recession or a slowdown is coming. I'm not saying a depression or anything like that, but a slowdown is on the horizon for next year, definitely. And so you want to prepare by getting as liquid as possible. cutting down on your non-asset, your paper assets. Like if you're involved in a lot of stock, start getting conservative and defensive in those areas. You also want to bolster your supplies, because as you've seen with the health crisis, one week they may be out of food, beans, or next week they may be out of rice or toilet paper or whatever. So start bolstering some of your supplies. Don't go crazy, but start bolstering your food, water securities. Bolster your antibiotics, things that you think you can't get overseas for cheap, or you're not going to be able to get for cheap overseas. You might want to bolster your supplies here for what's coming in the future, because any outage, any technological outage is going to affect all of us, because most of the stuff is wireless now. It's through the air, it's wireless. It can be cut, it can be stopped at any time. Phone networks can go down. You want to have some make sure your comms are in order. Whether that's ham radios, walkie-talkies, flashlights, you name it. Make sure your comms in check too, because like I said, these networks can go down at any time. It's all wireless. It's all through the air. We don't have as much hard wiring as you would think we would have. It's all in the cloud, they say. So that's what's going to cause the little things like that, little black swans, like events like that is going to cause as we ramp up toward the end of the year. Just look out for those things and you'll be okay. Trust in God, have faith, continue to keep yourself mentally sound by in your mind mentally fresh by praying, and also by trusting God, and also by playing mind games, whatever you do, read books, painting, whatever you do to keep your mind sharp and active during this time, and you'll be fine. So that's all I want to say today, ladies and gentlemen. Be safe. Continue to enjoy your week here as we get through the midweek. Jobs numbers come out on Thursday again. We'll see how it goes from there, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I'll be back with more on that on Thursday or Friday. Thank you. Blessings. Take care, fam. Bye-bye.